Yeah, let's do one side each. All right, everyone. We're going to get started shortly. Everyone can take their seats. We're almost done. All right. We know everyone's anxious to get to the VIP party. We're almost done with day one. Thank you all for supporting us and coming out. My name is Jason. I'm your Chief Operating Officer here at STM, and we're also joined with Caleigh.
Hi, I'm Caleigh, and I'm Data Operations Lead here at STM. So we're super excited to give this presentation to you guys today. We're going to give you a little bit of just a general market overview, then we're going to go into our new feature, our charts, and then we're going to do an asset class breakdown, and then lastly go into future works. So just a little general overview. Right now, we're tracking over 10 million data points, over 560 tokens spanning 15 marketplaces and 10 blockchains. We have over doubled our tokens since last year, which is amazing, and we're continually expanding as the market is growing exponentially. So what's hot? Looking at the US right now, in terms of volumes, INX and T0 are still continuing to dominate. TZROP and INX Limited Token have both had over 1 million in trading volume in Q1. And then looking at the market cap, also T0 is still in first place. So Aspen Coin, it'll be interesting to see as revenue share class rolls out to see if maybe volume will shift over to other share classes or if there might be arbitrage opportunities. Another thing we'll be looking at is if INX is acquired by Republic, the impact that this will have on INX's performance. So now looking at the international markets, this is the first time that we have seen Negra is not the top for volume. VidB has over $7.7 million in volume for Q1, surpassing Negra. But then looking at market cap, Negra is still in first place, followed by VidB and then BOSS, which are two tokens that are trading on ActionAriat, which is a Swiss exchange. So now we're going to go into our charts. Our charts is a new feature that we just launched. They're fully interactable, so we encourage you to hover, click on them, screenshot, and most importantly, give us feedback on what you want to see. So our charts are broken down into multiple dashboards, the first being a holistic overview. So this is where you can find the total market cap, total volume, and all the tokens we're tracking. You can also see a breakdown by the month for volume and market cap. And here you can see for Q1, the market cap was $32.7 billion, which is amazing, and volume just over $22.6 million. So the second of our dashboards is the breakdown. So this is our overview, but then a further breakdown by marketplace and then segmented by US versus international. So on the United States front, we are looking at INX and T0 comparing their daily volumes. Securitize is not currently trading, but as soon as they are, they will also be included in there. And then looking on the international front, like we talked about before, ActionAriat has had incredible volumes lately. Again, you can see in March that over $5.6 million volume from VidB AG. And then also, of course, Big One consistently has high volumes due to a Negra Group token. And then this is just another example of a chart that we have on our breakdowns. The investor type distribution, you can see that international US is the largest by far, and this is due to all of the realty tokens that we're tracking that are primarily offered to non-US investors. And then second, international accredited investors, which this is primarily due to institutional debt and other offerings.
Alrighty, so keep in mind that a lot of the charts we're showing here are samples of what you'll see on STM charts. So I highly encourage you to check out stm.co. Go ahead and check out the charts. You know, as Caleigh mentioned, hover for yourself and see what you'll find. But private credit and asset-backed securities are other ones that we started tracking as of recent. Private credit last year really grew in popularity into this year. So we're really looking to integrate into many more, including some in Brazil that are catching my eye, 18 to 30% returns that I definitely want to be tracking. But stateside, Figure has really led the charge for on-chain HELOCs using Provenance blockchain. They ended 2023 with around $7 billion, and I'm sure it's a lot higher now, and we'll be tracking it the more available it becomes to us. But again, we encourage you, by the way, any that's here or live stream viewing, that are marketplaces or blockchains, we want to integrate with everyone and really show that holistic view. So friendly reminder there. But moving on to the next slide, we're also looking as the last section of STM charts for now, which is debt. Institutional debt specifically. Over $10 billion issued to date, both active and those that have reached maturity. But where are they being issued? So if you go on to STM.co, check out the debt chart, you'll have an interactive map. Zoom in a little bit to see Hong Kong. It's a little hidden by China. But you'll have an interactive map to be able to look at and see, where are these issuances are coming from. Just to highlight a couple that, caught our eye, we did see an interesting multi-currency issuance out of Hong Kong. It was issued on HSBC Orion, now listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, But interesting thing there, amongst other institutional debt products that we've seen, is the green bonds, right? Great for ESG allocations. The green bonds are really coming up in popularity. Just last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, we saw Onyx just launch their digital debt service here in the United States with a municipal bond. That's with the city of Quincy in Massachusetts, so we'll definitely be, tracking that as well as it becomes available. And, we've noticed that a lot of these debt issuances, though, are from one institution to another, or even within one institution, just to another arm, filling that offering. So that's not to say, we can't really find a lot of trading volume for that very reason. That being said, we are starting to see other debt issuances that are starting to be a little bit more individual investor friendly. For example, in El Salvador, we recently saw the bond being issued to essentially fund a Hilton hotel by their international airport. It's a $6.25 million bond, 10% coupon, 5-year maturity. But like Aspen Coin, it comes with perks, free night stays based on how much you own. Honestly, with El Salvador and how forward-thinking they are in Web3, I'm curious to see with jobs being created with this, will people start being paid in Bitcoin, because it is legal tender. But moving on from STM charts, again, highly encourage you to check them out. We will do an asset class breakdown now, starting with our volumes. Equity, we saw, as Caleigh mentioned, VidB, there's $7 million in Q1. Specifically, March 27th, we saw 5.6 million in one day, and then another 300,000 on April 15th. Any given trading token on STM, you go in there, you'll see a graph with their market cap, a separate graph with their volumes. So keep an eye out for any of those that catch your eye. You want to see some spikes in the market, see what's going on there. Again, highest performing really is equity right now due to Anegra, as well as the Actionary platform over in Switzerland. With the lowest, as mentioned before, no surprise, debt issuances. Hopefully, again, we see a little bit more trading activity there. But moving on to the market cap side of the asset class breakdown, we have the highest growth coming from the funds. We've seen Wisdom Tree with their 13 tokenized funds. We've seen, of course, Biddle and Benji, which we will talk on or cover a little bit later. And then, of course, going into the negatives, equity, unfortunately, did not have a great first quarter. So moving on to market movements. Here's just some that we wanted to point out, in debt. I literally like to say, this is the issuance that put Germany on the map, the interactive map I'm referring to, which is a $3 billion separate tranche issuance. Those are corporate bonds, so maybe not the green bonds we talked about earlier. So check those out and get to know, again, what different opportunities are out there. Looking at funds, blockchain capital, they they're right before they stopped trading on SecuritizeThis, we did notice there was a price change, $1.66 up to $3.24 right before closing. That increased their market cap significantly, so that'll explain one of the spikes there. And the last one we kind of want to cover today is asset-backed securities. What I really like about blockchain, tokenization, and so forth is how creative you can get with the structure of financial products, and it makes it a lot easier to do that, which we will touch on tomorrow in some of the panels. But looking at, for example, Redwood Trust, they've securitized a lot over the last year or two, and using Liquid Fi, previously Liquid Mortgage, for easier reporting, more consistent reporting available to their investors. So, August and September, you'll see notice a spike there, mainly because we were used to seeing one securitization per month. This one had two, totaling 590 million. But then we also have other ones. The Blockstream mining node is a popular example of getting exposure to Bitcoin without specifically investing in Bitcoin. Hash Rate Asset Group, or HAG, I like to call it the US version of that. It was a Reg D, Reg S offering, again, an asset-backed security. And then you have the Republic node. You guys heard from Matt Melbourne and Jeff Veer earlier. The Republic node essentially representing positions into different portfolio companies that they've hosted on their platform. So lots of interesting things coming on. Lots of more interesting coming in the months to come. So keep an eye on that. And of course, the talk of town, what we've seen in the news recently, Biddle and Benji, the breakdown. So, of course, we all heard, Benji was overtaken as kind of like a money market fund, and now it's Biddle that has the highest AUM. As of today, here's the stats. And we've seen, inflows and outflows. We did see net outflows out of Benji, net inflows at Biddle. I'm curious to do a little deeper of a dive, see if there was any direct wallets that literally took from one and into the other, so we'll see. But some charts to look into, and again, we're going to be keeping an eye on this. That being said, let's recognize too, Benji is a very institutional product. Biddle is a very institutional product. $5 million minimum for qualified purchasers versus Benji, which is a lot more retail friendly, and they just started peer-to-peer transfers. I want to say 2 weeks ago. So again, we will be tracking that. We'll probably create a few more graphs on STM charts for you guys to look at. But that's kind of what we wanted to cover today on that breakdown. So Caleigh, tell us what's in store, what's coming to STM in the near future?
So in the near future, one thing we're working on right now is supporting multi-exchange listed tokens. So for example, a Negra group is listed on Big One and also XT. So being able to aggregate these volumes and then create a volume-weighted average price to get a more holistic view of the trading of tokens that are on multiple exchanges. In addition, looking at more asset and blockchain level data, such as holders, and then more granular inflows and outflows, like we talked about. In addition, more robust dashboards, like we talked about. Our dashboards and charts are a new feature, so we're continually iterating on them, and we want to dive deeper into specific assets and specifically looking and making dashboards for a specific asset class as well.
So just to shine a little bit more light on what we're working on, we've noticed, we started, for those who are not aware, STM started back in 2018, not too much to track back then, but it's grown over the years, as we're all aware. But with that growth, we've seen new asset classes, new assets coming on chain, which means more data to track. So you will be seeing a lot more. What you saw today was financial data. We will be looking at asset level data, as Caleigh mentioned. If it's a fund, I want to see holdings. I want to see changes in performance, token versus the NAV, right? If it's a piece of real estate, maybe the latest appraisals, rent occupancy, all that good stuff, and so forth. So that's something to look forward into, as well as blockchain level data, as she mentioned, inflows and outflows, all that good stuff, and then reference levels. So all that's coming to STM.co very soon, and of course, a couple of things we want to hold near and dear to your chest, but you will know. Alrighty, so next slide. We also want to know what you guys want to see on STM, so please reach out to either Caleigh, myself. We'll be around. Let us know what will be useful for you guys as you make your decisions as to what you want to invest into, what you want to allocate into, depending on what your goals are. So with that, thank you so much for your time, and we'll hand it over to Herwig soon for some closing thoughts.